Evening all, welcome to Kicking Dust. It's been a while since I've done some of this. I think I've been trying to kind of figure out what to do for Christmas, so I think I'll just very quickly talk about that. What we're going to do is a bit of an advent calendar. So every day we're going to play a different game. We'll look at that, pro skills. And we're going to actually do something, don't worry, we're still going to do Dust, but this is just going to be one video a day where we'll play something entirely out of the blue. So if you've got any suggestions, maybe start emailing them now. Send them to squadbme@gmail.com or just post in a comment and I'll pick it up. But we're going to try and play 25 different games up to Christmas. So that's going to be our little advent challenge. But we're also going to carry on doing Dust. We're also going to obviously continue to do all the stuff we're doing at the moment. To be honest, I've had a funny few days. I've been, well, I wouldn't say busy, but I think, you know, when you get those kind of moments when you're just up against it, yeah, that's me. So, you know, it's been a bit of a hectic one. Anyway, let's describe what's going on. Now, I put in these little spam mode, or rather game mode, indicators as a bit of a troll, obviously, but I thought it'd be useful to actually show kind of at least the setup of a map. So what I'm including here is something I rarely actually include, which is actually the spam setup. As you know, dominations are won by the people who've got the spawn pads, pretty much. So if you don't have the spawn pads, you don't have the paper, you can't get into the club, and your ass is on the curb, if I was going to be truly American in my speech. But in essence, you do need to be able to spam equipment, and that keeps your team in the game. And as you can see, I did all of that by myself. That was 6 spawn pads, 6 ammo hives, 3 proximities because I don't have the skills yet, remote explosives, etc. And then, you know, by the time we'd finished spamming, our team have already won as an orbital, which is lovely jubbly. So now actually we're into the proper mode. I've got back into my assault suit, and I now have my laser rifle, so stomp mode engaged. And this is where I think it's, you know, an interesting, today's video is very much going to be an interesting use of vehicles. So when running solo, please consider getting a vehicle, because your vehicle can be your armored haven for that just split second when you maybe need it, and you'll see in just a moment what I'm on about. But yeah, I'm afraid it was a stomp. We got into a really, it's funny because I play obviously, you know, many games, and I record pretty much everything. And the one thing that when I look for a good video to show you is usually a good fight, but I thought actually it's probably good to show you really what stomping is all about, and that's kind of today's topic, because a lot of the time what we're finding is matchmaking is a bit odd, because sometimes it puts, say for example, two and a half, say, full squads of people into one side, and then the rest is all randoms, which is a bit odd. And that's exactly what's happened here. We've got some certainly good players on their team, but they're running solo, so it's always going to be quite tricky to, you know, compete against 3 squads who are organized, and I think that's kind of the issue. So well worth consideration. Anyway, so here we go. As I thought here, as I throw my AVs, I realize I'm making the noobish mistake, and then I engage a laser at close range. So we switch the mode now to, quite frankly, flee, run away, flee, and I'm but there you go. So prime example of where the LAV saved my life there, because having that LAV, you know, right handy and next to me, I mean, I've even got a blueprint, they're free, so you might as well use them, is an incredibly useful thing to do. So as you can see, that really kind of saved my bacon right there. So we then go back to stomp mode. So it's funny because what I find a lot of the time is that you end up in a match usually where, I mean, let's just do this as maybe a percentage. Out of say 100 games, I would say probably that 10 of them will be exceptional, you know, equally matched, very competitive games. I would then say that maybe a further 40% will be relatively challenging, but you know, it's pretty much a given who's going to win. So you could capture the point, they'll never be able to get you back, but you'll have a good fight anyway. And then I would say 50% at the moment feel like they're stomps, which is a shame, because I think that's quite high. I think, you know, I do feel it's around half of the games that we play are just utter stomps one way or the other. And it's not us stomping, it could be anybody stomping, but the reality is it's when it's a little bit like this, where people just, the whole team really is obviously not trying. You've got maybe 5-6 people playing the game, and then the rest are just obviously MCC sitting or something. So it's a shame in a way, and I think it does depend when you play, because I think a lot of the time, if I'm playing around, I mean, you know, my play time's all a bit weird anyway, but when I generally play, it's not necessarily peak time. It could be Sunday, you know, almost lunchtime. It could be early afternoon, and that's when I think most, you know, your kind of competitive players, more competitive players, are not really on. So, you know, if you do want a good match, I'm afraid you do have to think about the time. This is the problem with you know, multiplayer games, and people sort of snort derision at me for wanting to play single player games from time to time, but this is why it's so annoying, you know, to have to kind of wait for somebody else to log in to actually give you a game. I hate that. So, you know, I think don't be too you know, disappointed if you get pretty much stomped, or you stomp them and you don't really get that kind of really good match. The really good ones, I think, are only around 10%, to be honest with you. I mean, I think, you know, out of, say, you know, 1 in every 10 games is probably a good, challenging game. I would say that's pretty bad. But what can you do? You know, this is part of the process, I think, of just getting up there. War Thunder is exactly the same. The matchmaking on that isn't great. I think they've got a lot more tiers, though. I think they have 20 bands of capability, if you like, and it's all because that's easy to do because it's all based on the plane, you see. So it's a bit of a shame, but we'll see. So we go orbitaling 2 tanks, not just 1 but 2, and look at that, I killed 1, my god. And you see the second tank is in serious trouble. Wang, boom, dead. So 2 tanks dead in as many seconds. You gotta love it. And I think that's a sort of sign of usually a proto stomp is, oh hello, another tank. So it's usually a sign of a proto stomp when you know, they spam tanks at you, they spam snipers at you, whatever it may be. Anyway, enough talk of the stomp. I think as Dust is kind of, you know, progressing at the moment, I'm really feeling it. I know a lot of the TTK thing is, well, it feels like it's dying down. I could be wrong, but I feel from my point of view that the TTK thing is not really an issue anymore. All I know, and this is the thing that made me laugh, all I know is that assault rifles are pretty deadly at close range. Well, duh, they're supposed to be. They're supposed to be the assault rifle blaster. Do you know what I mean? It's like the shotgun. Everything Galante is designed to be close range. And I think, yeah, they're pretty good. So if you see someone coming, it's all about range. And I think I've been enjoying the Scrambler rifle a little bit. It's a good gun. I mean, I've got to admit, I did quite well with it a few rounds, but it's a lot of work, isn't it? It's quite strenuous work. And I love the laser rifle. I love all of my weaponry, to be honest, is quite good. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. I think, you know, as it stands at the moment, you know, the TTK thing, I think, I've adapted to it pretty well, because I think I just accept that if there's somebody with an AR at close range, I'm dead. You know, doesn't matter what suit I've got, they're going to wipe me out in seconds. And I think there's a lot of issues, I think, still maybe with modded controllers, perhaps. I mean, I still do see a lot of people with phenomenal accuracy, and I can only assume they're running like 5 damage mods and, you know, an assault rifle, like, you know, something stupid. And because sometimes, and you'll see it in probably just a moment, I get wiped out in probably 3 shots. Now, you know, it's difficult because obviously there's something not quite right with the netcode. You know, maybe it's showing more hits, but it just feels like, you know, you're dying very quickly. Anyway, so if you're having trouble with TTK, post in the comments. I think the reality is that, you know, this is the game. This is what CCP do. They're very good at this, and it's all about, you know, making the game switch up a bit. Now, I would say since TTK came in, the game has got a lot harder, and I'm actually quite liking that. But no, I'm not supporting of TTK being so low. I think it would be better if you could tank a little bit more. But to be honest, is it a big deal? No. Is there more pressing things for them to do? Most definitely. I think as it stands at the moment, I think their priority has to be PvE. You know, I think this game would explode if you could actually, you know, harvest and, you know, kill creeps or whatever you want to call it. But I think they would reap benefits if PvE was in this for Christmas right now. I know it won't be, but, you know, it needs to be in very soon. I think a lot of people are getting a bit bored of the kind of to and fro fighting as well. Some of the new maps are good, you know, I think actually they're becoming old maps now, which is ironic. And I think sometimes they're a bit sort of like, I mean, I played an ambush on the lab one, and it was huge, you know, and it's just like, where is everyone? What's the point? And I found myself running around like a knobhead, just looking for something to shoot, and I thought that was a bit of a shame. But there we go, easy win, stomp, stomp, stomp. You know, what can you do? I don't like stomping. I think people have got a real kind of view of me because they see me in like a Caldari Assault Proto and using Proto weapons. I don't always use that. I think when I'm filming, I generally would, just because I want to give you something interesting to see. But, you know, I think, you know, the advanced stuff is pretty good as well. And I've got to admit, I've been really enjoying the Templar gear quite a lot lately as well. Probably do a video of that at some point. But there we go, not a particularly interesting match. As you can see, a few of their team are trying, which is always cool, but ugh, what can you do? So there we go, just a quick thing. If you enjoyed this video, go to squadb.com. What we're generally trying to do now is when we do a video, we're actually just writing a few thoughts down as well. It's not a transcript of what I talk about because, God, I haven't got time to do that. But literally, as the video renders, which takes about half an hour, I just write something down into the website and just put it up there. So, you know, please have a look at it. Go to squadb.com. You'll see some interesting articles coming through. I generally try and do something at least once a day or maybe once every other day. But if you like this video, then go and check it out. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.